Well, Canada is sending a significant boost in lethal weapons to Ukraine as the Russian invasion now entering its sixth day. Minister of National Defense Anita Anand announcing Canada is providing over 100 anti-tank weapons, 2,000 rockets, as well as additional air support. She joins me now live with the very latest on our efforts to end what is the biggest land conflict since World War II. Good morning to you, Minister.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Thank you for taking the time. I know you have a very busy schedule. I want to begin with, I feel like things are changing on an hourly basis, not just on a daily. The latest announcement, at first it was non-lethal aid being supported and sent, and now lethal aid is being sent, and it's going to be sent with some support to ensure that it arrives safely. Can you talk about this latest mission and what is going to be getting to the ground in Ukraine?
Most definitely. Yesterday, we did announce sending 100 anti-armor weapons systems as well as 2,000 rounds of ammunition for a total of about $8 million worth of lethal aid. But I want to be clear that we had already sent 2 shipments of lethal aid, which arrived in total in Ukraine by February 22nd. And we supplemented that, of course, with our non-lethal aid shipments. So in total, we have put forward about $18 million worth of lethal and non-lethal aid, and we will continue to respond to the situation and to the request of the Ukrainian government. I'm in very close contact with the Minister of Defense, Resnikov, of Ukraine, and indeed met with him a few weeks ago to understand specifically what their military needs are, and we are continually examining our own inventory to ensure that we are supplementing the Allied response to the very devastating situation in Ukraine at the current time.
Minister, we carried live here on Breakfast Television Ukrainian President Zelensky with an emotional address to the European Parliament. Some of his words saying his country is fighting for survival. I know previously it was said that this is not to be a combat mission on Canada's part. That is not on the table. Is it possible that could change at all?
Well, let's be clear. We've trained, the Canadian Armed Forces in particular, have trained 33,000 Ukrainian soldiers to prepare them for this very type of situation. So we have been on the ground since 2015 ensuring that our training mission is successful, and it is temporarily paused with our Canadian Armed Forces in Poland at the current time, but we are prepared to continue this training mission and indeed renewed and expanded it to up to 400 Canadian Armed Forces should the situation allow. In terms of a combat mission, we are standing with our NATO allies to ensure that the defensive posture of NATO is continually reinforced. We have 3,400 troops on standby should NATO request it. But any decision relating to combat would be taken in conjunction with our NATO allies. And at the current time, what we are doing is reinforcing our defensive and deterrent posture. We did announce up to 460 more soldiers to be deployed to the eastern flank of NATO in the Baltic region in the coming month. So this is, again, an attempt to ensure that the defensive and deterrent posture upon which NATO is built continues to remain strong and forceful.
Minister, as we watch some of the images in Ukraine, they're heartbreaking. They are devastating. We are seeing what's happening in Kharkiv. We're seeing by satellite images by the capital this massive military convoy via Russian military. It is indeed terrifying to watch these images, but on top of this, a very much a humanitarian crisis. Can you speak to what our country is doing to help refugees?
It's a great question, and I wholeheartedly agree with you that this is a very, very devastating situation. And our hearts as a government go out to the people of Ukraine in terms of what they are suffering. And for that reason, we have announced that we will match donations to the Red Cross. We will also provide $50 million worth of humanitarian aid and $650 million for economic and other loan type aid. We have an email set up, sos@international.gc.ca, where anyone needing help can contact us. We have the Canadian Armed Forces standing ready in Poland to assist with Canadians who are exiting Ukraine and who need humanitarian assistance. And we will continue to be there for Ukraine in whatever capacity we can, as we have shown with this whole of government approach.
Will this process be expedited for anyone looking to immigrate to Canada?
We are definitely examining the different processes that we can put in place as a government to expedite passage, to ensure safe passage for Canadians and others coming to Canada.
Okay, I wish we had more time with you. Defense Minister Anita Anand, I appreciate you taking this time here. I know that you are constantly in talks with your counterparts as well, so I appreciate you doing this with us, and please do stay in touch. Thank you.
Well, thanks so much. Take good care.